Peace. Peace and welcome, everybody. Let's see who's here. Hey, Wayne. Wayne Dombrowski. Hey, Wayne. Peace and welcome, and thanks for being here with me this morning, fellow seekers of light and truth and love. I'm Peter Panagore. Most of you know me, some of you don't. MDiv and near-death experiencer. Welcome to Not Church. Today, I'd like to journey into the heart of the Gospel of Matthew, specifically focusing on the Aramaic Beatitudes. In these sacred words, we find a spiritual compass, a guide to the stages of spiritual growth, or the ripening of the soul that may be missed in the traditional translations. Maybe. So let's ripen our moment in our hearts and entangle us together in the light of ourselves and in one time and space. So today, breathe with me into your belly and down to your root and to your pelvic floor. And just a few breaths to kind of settle us all in together, listening to your breath and feeling your belly full. Here, I'm gonna demonstrate here. I'm gonna get my hand on my belly. I'm hold. Pull in the pelvic floor. Control the breath up. Drive it to your brow. Hold. Relax. Pelvic floor. Join with me. Thank you. Thank you. I hope that helps open the ear of your heart. Teleprompters. The Beatitudes were translated from the Aramaic Peshitta, and I've talked about the Peshitta a whole bunch in the past few weeks. If you want to know more about it, take a look back. It's a collection of the Gospel and the what's called the Old Testament Hebrew scriptures in Aramaic, and it's very, very old. And this is from Matthew. Listen to this in Matthew 5, and with your ear, remembering back what you learned as a kid about the Beatitudes, and with your open heart. Maybe close your eyes. Blessed ripening into life and its empowerment moves toward those who cling to their breathing as their first and last possession. Ripe are those who dissolve their small selves within breath. They live in the shimmering I can of nature and the cosmos. Ripening arrives to those who consciously breathe into the well of their confusion and grief. They shall feel themselves surfacing again with clarity and joy. Ripening toward those who soften what's overly rigid within. They naturally absorb healing power, their sustainable inheritance from nature. Ripening in a blessed way are those who fervently desire and who are famished and thirsty for balance, honesty, and justice within and around them. They are filled with the intimacy of existence, ripening in a healthy way are those who radiate womb-like love from the deepest place inside. They shall be reborn within love's creative stream. Ripening arrives to those contemplating themselves in heartfulness, feeling fully within the larger heart of life. They shall feel all their senses opening toward reality wherever they turn. Ripening moves toward those working hard, planting, digging the living remembrance of the springs of peace. They are becoming channels of reality's life-giving flow, signposted, drink oneness here. Those being pushed beyond safe boundaries are tuning themselves for the sake of honesty and justice. They are renewed within the vision and power of the larger life vibrating around them. Ripening now are those who, in the moment of being envied, push beyond their boundaries, spoken about unripely. Follow my way and realize that all this is just self's sticky web of pretense. My thanks go to Neil Douglas-Klotz and his book, Revelations of the Aramaic Jesus, by Hampton Roads Publishing, also my publisher. The Beatitudes begin with ripening into life, and its empowerment moves toward those who cling to their breathing as their first and last possession. In the mystic's eye, this is a call to mindfulness, to presence, to that vital grounding act of breathing that ties us to life and being. Breath is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. And it is our connection to the spark of divine within us. As we cling to our breath, we become ripe with awareness and connectedness to the universe. Blessed are those who consciously breathe into the well of their confusion and grief. They shall feel themselves surfacing again with clarity and joy. This invites us to lean into our pain, confusion, and grief and allow the healing balm of inner awareness and divine love to bring us back to clarity and joy. We're called to dive into the inner depths, face our shadows, and transform them with love and understanding into light. Ripening toward those who soften what's overly rigid within. They naturally absorb the healing power, their sustainable inheritance from nature. To soften what's rigid within is to unlearn our stubbornness, resistance, and fears, It invites flexibility, openness, and love into our lives and hearts. The openness allows us to absorb the healing power that is our birthright. As we grow in our spiritual journey, we become famished and thirsty for balance, honesty, and justice within and all around us. We yearn to be reborn within love's creative crystal stream, to feel our senses opening toward reality with a capital R wherever we turn. We yearn for the inner transformation that aligns us again and again with the divine principles and cosmic flow. The Beatitudes remind us that we're pushed beyond our boundaries, envied and spoken of unripely or meanly. We must remain steadfast in our spiritual path inside our hearts. That's where peace is. That's where balance is. Rely on your breath to focus whenever needed. A moment, a day, a week. In these moments of external adversity, we are reminded of the transience of the world, all the worldly distractions, and the enduring peace and fulfillment of our spiritual journey we find within our centered hearts, the balance place. We stay committed to our paths, trusting in our soul's divine guidance, ripening, and it does. The way, capital T, capital W, the way then becomes the teacher as we trust the guidance as it ripens. These Beatitudes aren't merely blessings. Blessed are the poor. Blessed are those who weep and mourn. They're a mystic's manual to spiritual evolution. They explore the stages of spiritual growth and ripening that occur as we deepen our connection with the divine. They speak to the heart, inviting us to transform from within, become vessels of divine love and channels of peace, and awaken to our true nature and interconnectedness with all life. May we all strive to embody these teachings, ripen in our spiritual journey, and realize the divine light within each of us. These aren't just words. This is real life in my world. I continued to grow and deepen. And when I read these Aramaic versions of the Beatitudes, I understood that my journey has been what they describe. Moment by moment, breath by breath. It's not so much that I discovered the path on my own as it is my breath showed me the way. I let my breath lead me. Just this week, I was weeping and mourning for my dear friend who died doing what he loved, out on his mountain bike, near-death experiencer, had an uncomfortable relationship with his dad. But in the end, the person who was on scene said he talked lovingly of his dad, who it seems to me may have greeted him. And I mourn for my friend. But I find in my breath, when I aim my heart at my mourning, that I find there peace lurking within it. I didn't make that happen. It's the natural blessing of the divine spirit that comes to us as we are because of what we are. These Aramaic Beatitudes, they show us the truth of what he, Jesus, was trying to teach. That this is the natural inheritance of all humanity, the divine light within, found through breath. Thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe and give support in the super chat, or visit me at peterpanagore.love. Maybe book a private session with me there. Not church needs your support to continue. And I thank you to those who do, because I couldn't be here without you, and many have been supportive for a long time. Patreon, PayPal, $5 a month. It's helpful. Next Sunday I'll be back again. But last week I was sequestered and I was writing for the movie. I'll talk a little bit more about that at Not Church after this at 11 o'clock. And I wonder whether we should switch Not Church to right after, switch Mystic Tea Salon to right after Not Church. I think maybe that's a good idea. But we'll wait this week and we'll talk about it at Mystic Tea Salon. And some of you have been wondering what I was doing last week when I was away. I was writing the 4th scene chapter for the movie, and I'll explain what that's all about, why I'm still writing for a book that's been optioned. I can explain that at Mystic Tea Salon, and you'll understand I had a good writing week, got through my first draft, got halfway through my the second draft of it. But let's take a look over here and see what's going on in the chat. Hey, Maggie, over there in Glasgow. I'm breathing in the truthfulness of this and feeling the rise of weeping for joy. Thank you, Peter, says Ellen. Thank you, Ellen. There's truth in this. Magical wisdom. Can't believe the meaningfulness of this translation. I know, it's phenomenal. Hi, Sandra. Good morning from Kansas. Good morning to Kansas, Kelly. Hi, Susie. Hi, Holly. Hi, Michael in Ireland and Vineyard Worker, Judith, Diane, Martha, Sue, Ali, Brother Ed, Mary S., Logan, Wayne. I love that reading, says Andrew. Great reading. I bought 3 of his books a couple of weeks ago upon your recommendation and haven't read that part yet. I had to source through, to get the whole Beatitude Matthew 5 in one spot. I kind of copy and pasted and pulled it out and put it in order. I couldn't find a place where it was just on a full page. I'm glad you're reading his books. I hope he gets a noticeable bump in his book sales, because he has Klotz. Truthfully, some people, a lot of scholars disagree with him, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say that. But I think, why do they disagree with him? Because they can't prove the age of the book. The Peshitta can't prove how old it is. Because it was apparently written and rewritten over and over again, copied and recopied as the previous manuscripts wore out in the Aramaic churches over there in Syria. So he can't prove it. What he's trying to prove is that the Aramaic came first and the Greek came second. It's not provable at this point, but his translations are mystical beyond comprehension, amazingly so. It shows, it expresses to me the truth of what Jesus was trying to teach before they deified him and made him into a religion instead of what he was really trying to do, which is to help us find this light within us that already exists. and it's much more expressed in the Aramaic. And I know that there's another Aramaic full translation. Someone had reminded me when I said there wasn't one, and there is one, but it's not. It's much more like the Koine Greek than it is like this translation of the Aramaic. It's much less mystical. It's much more reflective of the normal the translations that you might pick up if you opened up your Bible and read. So I'm hoping that Klotz eventually gets the whole thing translated and puts it in a book, gospel by gospel. Somebody should. I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. I'm glad you bought those books. They are very helpful. They opened my mind and my heart. They speak the truth. You know how you resonate when you hear the truth spoken? It's like this hum inside. That's what I get when I read these things. I need this source of readings. Where was all this in my life? Well, he hadn't done his work yet, Sue. He's been working for a long time, 20 years probably, maybe longer. I don't know how long he's been a scholar, but yeah, it's not popularized. And beautiful truth. Please, what's the title of the book again? It's the I'm going to get you the title exactly, but it's douglas-klotz. Let me get up the title here. It's in my Kindle. Open up Kindle. I've got a couple books by him. Revelations of the Aramaic Jesus. Revelations. Oh, that'll be backwards for you. That's my page. Revelations of the Aramaic Jesus. There. No, I wanted to. How do I close that? I don't know. By douglas-klotz, Klotz, I think. And I'd read it for you, but I'm having trouble with my Kindle. So, Revelations of the Aramaic Jesus, and Amazon has it, probably Barnes and Noble and those places. And I got it on audio. I listened to it on audio first, and then I read it, and going back through it on audio again. And I'm still reading it and taking notes and all that kind of stuff. It's a pretty phenomenal book. Thank you for the super chats, my friends. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, my friends. Kay and Czar, and wow. It's not showing me your names. I'll have to skim back through, but thank you so much. It's super helpful. It keeps me going, for real. It's in the show notes, says Martha. It is in the show notes. That's right. And I should call them show notes. That's a great idea. I've been calling them like description. That's such a descriptive word. I like show notes better. It's like, hey, they're in the show notes. I like that better. Breath. It was once pointed out to me, our life here is bookended. Oh, there they are. They just all flicked. It was once pointed out to me, our life here is bookended by first one inhale and finally one exhale. The first and last breath. Our entire life is what transpires between those two. Beautifully said, Wendy. Sorry for the loss of my friend. Thanks, PL. He's the buddy I was with out in Salt Lake City when I had 2 speaking gigs in Salt Lake City, and we went mountain biking together. And then I got to go back in January for another speaking gig, and I got to go skiing with him, and he's well missed. Well missed. We got to be friends water skiing. That's how we met when we were in junior high. Thanks for the happy Father's Day, Kate. Which book were you reading from? Revelations of an Aramaic Jesus. And thank you, Oriana and Tiffany and Logan and Nicola and Kristen. Thank you for those super chats. I got Prayers of the Cosmos. I've got that book. Yeah, I showed that to you last week. And I've got another one I bought this week too. I'd show you in Kindle, but Kindle's not cooperating. Or at least I'm not sure how to get back to where I needed to be on my phone. I read it on my computer mostly. Good morning from North Hollywood. Hey, Chris, over there in LA. Nice. Sue, I was resonating. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Because all this language stuff and all this knowledge is really wonderful. But the resonation of it, the vibration of it, the feeling of it is really where the connection is made between us, between the book in us, between in our community, and wherever you find the radiance from a tree and a bird and a friend. Um, that's where the communication happens. Thanks, Kate. Thank you for the super chat. Truth resonates in the body for me too. And Ellen, that's what I've been thinking about, what you said to me, that long ago I talked about how Kriya yoga and the breath really is connected to the standing and the practice of the physical yoga. And that's the way I normally practice it. And I've been teaching it in a sitting situation because I got a camera and a microphone. And everybody's sitting most of the time when they're looking at their phone and that kind of thing. But really the practice of the breath is enhanced, magnified, and improved with a physical yoga practice. And you don't have to be a super magical person to do that. Like super stretching. You just have to be present in your body and paying attention to your breath. And thanks, Mary, for the Happy Father's Day. Appreciate that. Just came by text. Like, for instance, right now, as I'm standing here right now in front of you, I have my toes splayed, my knees bent, my muscles tense in my calves. I'm pulled in my pelvic floor, and I'm standing rooted to the floor. That's simple practice of rooting oneself to the floor. You can relax it and just don't have to have as much tension. That simple practice of standing with awareness and breathing with awareness is part of Kriya practice, part of bringing into the present moment one's own self. And in that moment of being present, the lower self, the false self, the egoic mind disappears for a moment in the peace itself. And it gets to be shared. Grounding and connecting, I feel my blade of truth. Grounding and connecting, I feel my blade of truth. Right there. All right, my friends, thank you so much. And even sitting, I make sure my feet are flat on the floor as a grounding. Tom, right. Feet flat on the floor. Right. Barefoot's good too. If you're a barefooter, barefoot's good too. Because it, makes your feet bare, especially if you're doing it on the grass or on the lawn or something. All right, my friends, thank you for being here this morning. Thank you so much for the support. Thanks for liking and subscribing. We'll be back next week, and I'm not sure what I'm doing next week because I just got back from this week of writing, but we'll see. Something interesting, I promise. Let's see. You are barefoot. You are barefoot. Peace to you. Thirsting for the breath of life reminds me of a not NDE experience when I almost died body surfing in a stormy surf, held under water by a force led to let go. Held underwater by a force led me to let go. That's what it is. It's the letting go. Thank you, fish in the water. Thank you. Thank you all. All right, my friends. I'll see you at the top of the hour for Mystic Tea. The link is in the show notes. And let's talk about whether we should shift that over to right immediately after Not Church. All right. Peace and love, everybody. Thank you for being here. Love you all.